Make it 6 in a row for the Edmonton Oilers. They get the job done against the Philadelphia Flyers. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream postgame show on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Joaquin Gage, who will be hopping on here right away. And YouTube Trev, as always, coming at you from the EST Satellite Studios, a.k.a. my office. But good night for the Oil as they return home after 6 in a row on the road. Had not played at home since December 16th. That was a loss to Florida. The night or a couple nights before that, they lost to Tampa as well. So they snap a brief losing streak on home ice and extend their winning streak to 6 games and inch ever closer to a spot in the postseason as this team is on fire. YouTube Trev, let's get Joaquin Gage in here. He's ready to go, folks. Show. Bring him on. There he is. Hello, Joaquin. How are you, pal? From dusk till dawn, you and me, we ride and die together, pal.
Yeah, we're like Connor and Leon, buddy. You're my ride and die. We'll see in a few hours right after this too. This is great.
Oh, that's right.
Wow.
We have the morning show, Nielsen show with Gager and Gazzola. Yes, sir.
I might have to go grab a Lotto Max ticket because my luck just hanging out with you this much. Wow, it's unbelievable. The start of 2024 is amazing. TG, love it.
Wow, I am honored and I almost believe you, but I do feel the same way, Gager. Sincerely, though, it's always great to hang out with you and appreciate you stepping up for Cass, for Dusty, for Eric. And you're always great to work with and to hang out with as well. And you and I get to break down a 5-2 Oilers victory. Of course, we encourage you to get in on the conversation, 780-218-9999. That is the number to text us if you're just leaving Rogers Place, as well as the nasty chat to those that are watching. Gage, we're going to go through the scoring summary first, and then we'll get to your thoughts on that game that we saw tonight. I was going to say dismantling, but I think the Flyers put up a good fight, all things considered. And then we'll get to some nasty chat as well as the inbox. So get in on the conversation, your thoughts on the Oilers' 6-game winning streak on their return home and where this thing is headed, because I feel like this train's a rolling, baby, and it's not about to stop anytime soon. All right, with that being said, let's go to the first period. Connor McDavid would get the Oilers on the board, his 14th of the season from Nugent Hopkins and Vinny Desharnais. Desharnais give him 4 assists on the season. Nugent Hopkins, 25 assists. And McDavid inching closer to point number 900. That was 899. Goal coming at 15:55 to make it 1-0. In the second period, Zach Hyman would extend the lead to 2-0. He is having a fantastic year goal-wise, just in general. McDavid, the assist, is 900 point, 36th assist of the season. Leon Draisaitl, the other helper, at 8-12, 2-0 Oil. But the Flyers would fight back. Feisty have been playing well this season, surprising a lot of people. However, they have won just one of their last 5 games heading into this one, and the Oilers extended it to 1 win in their last 6. Konechny, though, would get his 18th from Farabee and Couturier. 2-1 Oil at that point at 11:10 of the second period. Then Mark Stahl. The Flyers going 11-7, getting Stahl into action tonight. He was their 7th defenseman. He jumps up into the rush and converts uncontested. And Konechny and Farabee with the assists on that one, 2-2 at the 17-minute mark of the second. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on the power play scores his 10th goal of the season from McDavid and Hyman. Just a great feed from McDavid. Nice play by Hyman. Good keep in at the point before that. And the Oilers return to being in front 3-2 at that point. 19:05 time of the goal from Nugent Hopkins at or his 10th, I should say. And then in the third period, the Oilers would just run away with it. 4-2 when Leon Draisaitl scores his 18th of the season from McDavid and CC. Another great play there on the delayed penalty at 1:27. And then Nugent Hopkins gets his 2nd of the night, 11th of the season from McDavid and Hyman to make it 5-2 at 11:19. Shots on goal. 37-36 in favor of the Flyers. The Edmonton Oilers win the faceoff battle 52.4 to 47.6%. The power play 1 for 4. It does connect. They did get some 5-on-5 goals, which was great. And the PK goes 4 for 4. Hits 22-14 in favor of Philly. Block shots 8-7 in favor of Philly. And then officially just 7 giveaways for the Flyers to 15 for the Oilers. The Oilers with 5 takeaways to Philly's 2. Joaquin Gage, your thoughts on the Oilers' 5-2 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers?
The first thought that comes to mind, Tommy, is the Philadelphia Flyers are a really good hockey team. Like, again, I think we talked about this morning. They're a team that is almost indistinguishable from lines 1 through 4. They all play that certain way where, I'm thinking you insert some of the high end skill that the Oilers have on that team, they become a force in that division where they're already, they're in the third spot in that division. Like, it's the fact that they never quit for 60 minutes, the pushback in the second period, really good team, good goaltending from Carter Hart. Just, there's only so much you can do at certain times against the Oilers. They're just, and I've spoken about this before. There's just certain times in games where the real high end skill just take it to a level of hockey that mere mortals can't reach, and it just gets away from it. And that's kind of what happened tonight. Again, the Oilers are winning in ways that we talked about it today. Is the power play worrisome? No, this is, and the main reason that I do not worry about the Oilers power play right now is because of the way that they can play and the bending, not breaking when the other team is pushing, getting back into the game, and then having the testicular fortitude, so to say, Tommy,
I like it,
to grasp the game late in key situations, like those late goals. They're backbreakers going into the locker room after the effort that the Flyers put out. I'm impressed with the Oilers. I'm even more impressed with the way that the Flyers were able to stick with the game after that third goal, and the way they came out in the third trying to push back, but they just got a guy that in Connor McDavid that make plays that I don't think Mac T mentioned it. There's not many guys on the planet who can make plays like that.
No, absolutely masterful tonight. The way he was with the puck, the passes, that one no looker that he made behind the unbelievable on the goal. So just another night where McDavid, his brilliance shines through, obviously. And listen, like you said, there was some fight in the Flyers. They didn't go away. They clawed their way back into it, made it 2-2, and then we got Bit Slappin 1957 in the nasty chat says Stewie won the Oilers the game in the second period. He made 35 saves tonight, Gage. You talked about how scrappy the Flyers were. When this game was close again, when it was 2-2, I thought Skinner was clutch. And I know some people don't want to say, hey, he stole one, and they don't want to throw that term around loosely. I gave him the LA one where I said he stole it because he made some great saves. But what would you make of the way Skinner performed tonight?
A great game by Stuart Skinner again. Okay, so we've been saying the term stealing it, but I think that is because of the earlier part of the season where we were looking for key saves at key times.
Yeah.
Now you're getting them. Like you're not going to dominate an NHL team for 60 minutes. It's the players are too good. The teams are too good. There's going to be pushbacks at a certain point, and that's when good NHL goalies really shine. They cover up for a few maybe missed coverages, some mistakes, taking a couple goals away. I thought both goalies did a phenomenal job of keeping the game close at key points in time. You saw I think it was on Janmark that Carter Hart does that like reverse scorpion save back to just unbelievable to keep his team in it, right? So Stuart Skinner, just from a personal aspect, I remember going up against from the American League to the NHL And the NHL guys, you look down at the other end and you're like, my gosh, my team's going to have to do something special to get the puck past him here. I need to raise my game to another level because the guy's so dialed in. And I think that's Stuart Skinner is just dialed in. Stealing games, I don't know if he stole it tonight, but he provided what I call NHL goaltending.
NHL, I like that. And considering how bad things were for the team in general, and how we were throwing a term around in a negative light around the Oilers, was they kept getting goalied by the other guy. Like, we're talking about Casey DeSmith, for crying out loud, out goaling them, they got goalied by Casey DeSmith. To use the term stealing and throw it around, I guess we could is it fair to put saying the Oilers got goalied and them stealing, we'll just leave those two terms aside for now when it comes to talking about the Oilers, or no?
Let's do this, Tony. I think I always found it was easier for a goalie to be a game star just because, you make a few good saves at certain points. The votes can lean that direction. Stuart Skinner's playing like he's a game star, whether it's maybe not always first. Hard to be with Connor McDavid's night tonight.
Right.
But I would say in his last, 5 starts, he's easily could have been considered as a third star. He's a star almost every night that he's playing. And that's super encouraging for his play coming into January, which I said back in the summer. I thought that this is when Stuart Skinner this will be a time when the rubber really hits the road here.
He's got 4 straight wins in his last 4 starts. Of course, had a couple of losses, one against Tampa, one against the Islanders. And prior to that, had won 6. Was it 7? It was 6 in a row, 7 in a row. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So he's been much better. And like you said, a game star. I like that. That's a good, happy medium, Gage, or a nice way to describe it. Listen, the Oilers get the win. They have a really strong push in the second period. Start with that Nugent Hopkins goal. And then the third period, they keep it pouring on, which is great. And then they get some saves from Skinner. But it's not like this was a perfect game. And I don't want to pick apart a win. But if I said to you a few times, you Oilers were a little too careless with some no-look backhand passes, if you're not McDavid and you're Vander Kane or Evan Bouchard, maybe lay off of those a little bit. That's the one gripe I would have. And it's just a minor one. Is that fair, or what would you say to that?
Yeah, I think we're mentioning those because of the way that the Oilers have been managing the game as of late. They've kind of gotten that too cutesy kind of plays out of their game in those really difficult areas to give the puck up, like at the blue lines.
Yep.
Getting the puck deep, making proper decisions. I think I know the play you're talking about. Kane tried to do that, get deep and throw that backhand back towards the point.
3 times on that shift.
Yeah, and just it's coming from a place where he's trying to create a little bit of misdirection.
Yes.
Hopefully this opens up something different to catch the team off guard. But in those situations, I think it's better for the team and a game management view to make sure it's tape to tape.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to give any life to that team. Like the Flyers would have feasted on any kind of chum in the water that the Oilers would give them there. They did a good job, and Stewart's get great. It was probably out of reach, but great save on the breakaway and stuff. But
yes,
it's just against that team, they're not going to quit. If they were up 5 or down 5, I don't think they would change the way they played. They're a dangerous team. You have to make sure that the game management, which at times was a little bit lax, but compared to the last few games, so I'm not really too worried about it. I just think it was a kind of because of the situation of the game and how it was getting out of reach.
Right. The Oilers win it 5-2 over the Philadelphia Flyers, give the Oils 6 straight victories. We want to hear from you. It is the Oil Stream postgame show on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Joaquin Gage with you, as well as YouTube Trev holding things down at the ESTHQ. Let's get into some of the text. Peterman wants to know, I'm late to this party. Why is Gager talking into the Death Star with a crazy emoji? That's the snowball microphone.
It's great. I love the feedback on this microphone. It's a classic. It's the Death Star. Whatever.
I have
I'm
the
a
same
Star
one.
Wars guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Works great. This one from Eden says, "Hey boys, great win tonight. Skinner very steady, and McDavid is going supernova again. What do you feel like the chances are for Connor to reach 1,000 points this year? This is a night where he picked up 5, and then he also eclipsed 900 in his career. Gager, I think it's a tall task with 46 games left, 47 games remaining on the season. What do you think?"
That would be quite difficult. I don't think we're going to see that 1,000 point till next year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But saying that,
It's Connor.
It's Connor. You can't ever doubt this guy, especially the way he's playing right now, and not only how he's playing, but he's playing with 2 other guys that are feeling it as probably just as much as he is. Zach Hyman is just a beast, right now, and he's not that he's normally not a beast. He's just not getting goals disallowed, and like by this time last year, I think he had 9 disallowed goals. So this is just maybe he's not getting them disallowed this year. But that line is there's something special. The very, very entertaining to watch. But I don't want to get caught up in that. Because in the big picture, Tommy, I think in the Oilers room too, they look at the big picture. It doesn't matter about the individual success and accolades. I think it helps the poor start to what these guys had, and I selfishly, I think I don't want to hear about guys reaching point milestones by the end of the year. That should we had those over the last few years. I don't want that. I want the singular focus for this team to be playoff bound and what's going to happen at that time of the season.
Right.
I think that's a mindset anyway. I mean, everyone likes to get their cookies and it's great, but I just think it would be better suited that who cares about that kind of stuff. Let's go for the stuff that means something.
That's a good point. And the stuff that means something is the standings right now, and the Oilers now at 39 points through 35 games. Arizona loses 4-1 to Florida in Tempe at Mullet Arena. I was going to say Moulet. So the Coyotes are at 40 points. Edmonton on the verge of, although Edmonton has 3 days between games and won't play till Saturday. So 1 point back of the Arizona Coyotes with a game in hand, which is good. And McDavid, if you're wondering, now up to 53 points. The only 2 guys that are in front of him are Nathan MacKinnon and Nikita Kucherov. 780-218-9999 is the number to text us. And you can get into the nasty chat as well. Gazzola and Gage with you. YouTube Trev back at the EST HQ. I'm going to go to Mike in Thunder Bay. What's up, Mike? Staying up late. Appreciate that very much. Mike says, McDavid to McLovin, hold my beer. We've been talking about just needing league average goaltending for a long time now. Skinner with the 946 is much better than that. This is the Oilers team we expected to see at the start of the season. That comes in from Mike in Thunder Bay. The Liquid Beaver says, nice win. It's hard to critique a win, but I will. Evan Bouchard has been much better lately defensively. However, his lack of urgency drives me to crack another 6 o'clocker. He has to get that laziness out of his game. That's from Liquid Beaver. And I'm jealous cracking that 6 o'clocker logger out of boy, Liquid Beaver. What would you say to Liquid Beaver's comments about the urgency for Bouchard on the offensive side?
Yeah, I don't think that ever really comes out of his game. We'll see when things kind of ramp up as we progress through the regular season. Games and points mean so much more for not only making the playoffs, but playoff positioning. As a player, you tend to realize the gravity of the situation and raise the intensity level. But look, man, I was really hard on Bouchard. I didn't know if he should even play in 5-on-5 situations and just come out for the power play. Right.
I remember those conversations.
It was rough.
Yep.
But On the broadcast tonight, you heard Louis talk about confidence, and he was referring to that second line and how it's, you can almost see it beaming off these guys, right? And that's what's happened with, I would say, for all of these 6 defenders with the Edmonton Oilers right now. They are beaming with confidence. Yes, when you watch Bouchard, there's certain situations where he looks lackadaisical,
Yep.
but there's also multiple times when he is being pressured with the puck now in his own end, where that what looks as lackadaisical is more confidence and delay, like the ability to delay a play and look guys off. I think is at this point outweighs the lackadaisical non plays that he does. It's just the way he is, and he's having one of the best years of that we've seen from an Oilers defenseman in years here. So you take the good with the bad, but I think we're still only scratching the surface with Evan Bouchard. He's still a very young defenseman. There's still a lot of runway left to see how he's going to develop. But offensively, just ridiculous. The defensive things are coming, and with more time, more recognition of who he's playing against, and the gravity of the situation, I think the Oilers. They're in a good spot with Evan Bouchard right now.
Bouchard, 36 points through 35 games now. Nothing in terms of points tonight. +2, a shot and a hit, 2017 time on ice. And he has come a far way, and compared to what we saw from him earlier in the season. And that's encouraging, at least. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. But yeah, it's okay to nitpick even the wins. And where Bouchard is at compared to where he was in November early on. Like Gager said, the nights where we would talk and be like, just put him out on the power play and leave him out there, and that's it. And Gager, you know what, too? I was just going to say, they only have 6 healthy defensemen on the roster. They don't have Gleason's not up with them right now.
Yeah. Then maybe this is a discussion for you and I tomorrow morning, Tommy, but like I just went through my mind there just about how they were looking to not play Bouchard with Ekholm, or, they were trying to maybe get Ekholm with Broberg.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that was a poor decision on the old coaching. Just like go with what works. Like if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Maybe that was, and I know that there were injuries in training camp and things like that, but maybe, I don't know, something we can talk about.
We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. It's you and I again on the Nielsen Show. Lieutenant Eric under the weather. Dusty getting some well-deserved time off and rest. He'll be back on Monday, and we'll see where Eric's at. But you, me, and I think Awanik tomorrow. Trev's got the morning off, which is good. Trev's been putting in a long shift tonight and this morning as well. So we're a little bit shorthanded at EST right now, but everybody will be back or should be good to go by Monday, coming out of that holiday break, Gager. It's that time of year. 780.
Looking for some call-ups.
Yeah, well, we're working on that too. Kind of tough this time of year, but you're right. How's our farm system doing?
The cupboards are bare, Tommy.
Yeah.
The cupboards are bare.
Yeah, I know.
We'll see what happens in the summer with some draft picks.
Yes, exactly. We better draft and scout well. 780-218-9999 or the nasty chat. I think Tango was asking if there's vodka in my water bottle. No, it's just water. I wish no post-game libations because we've got a 4 a.m. wake up tomorrow. D-Man asking how attendance was tonight. I think it was pretty full. I didn't notice huge chunks of anything of seats empty. I think people enjoy seeing the Flyers once a year, so I think it was pretty much full. And then I wanted to get to Mary. Twitter Mary says, Skinner played well. Unfortunately, there were way too many turnovers. So Twitter Mary seeing some of those turnovers that we didn't like and acknowledging those. And I agree with Twitter Mary on that one. But they overcame them. But something to probably focus on heading into Saturday against the Ottawa Senators. This one from Kenworth Kelly says, can I just say that McDavid's passing was so sick tonight, Torts wanted to call in a priest. Now that's sick. Ontario Momes says, boys, they're going on a big heater. I think they spanked the Leafs too. Kane is a better player the less he handles the puck, if that makes sense. If they find a legit 3C, they should be cooking with 3 lines. Kane tonight, Gager, I think he was like, the motor seemed to be there, but he seemed to, the things he wanted to do, the vision in his mind for the plays he wanted to make didn't seem to come together, even though he was working hard and skating and all that. What are you seeing from Evander Kane? Because he is still, I think he's still nicked up. He was questionable going into the game the other night.
Yeah, there's definitely something. Even his skating stride, it just looks like he's a little tentative, and he's a guy is trying to make stuff happen. Yeah, it just seems like it's not really clicking for him right now. And he's a guy that I think where he is situated can make the other two around him a lot better. We talked about this morning. I would like to see him and Dylan Holloway play together. I think Evander Kane does well with guys that play with a lot of tempo and speed. I think those guys can play off each other quite well. Two big guys that can play a heavier style. So let's hopefully he can get healthy again, because it's not the Evander Kane that we normally see. I don't
right.
It's not. And hopefully by the time that if Dylan Holloway gets better here, they can get together and we can see what that kind of does. I like Derek Ryan's game, Tommy. He's a feisty. Yeah, they need a little bit. They need someone at that 3C spot. They need to iron that out. Something needs to be done. I realize that, but they're getting by with the Dutch boys with their fingers in the holes of the dam for now.
There's another word we use for those, but we're not going to use it on this program.
Nope.
780-218-9999. I want to ask you about Matthias Janmark, because he kind of mixed it up a little bit tonight. He had that one that he got a tripping penalty for. We were thinking up top, hey, maybe he's going to get kneeing. And then he was going with a couple of guys where they were taking runs at him, and he was actually physical in this one. What did you make of Janmark, speaking of that third line?
I love to see when players get under the opposing team's skin that cause that team to be more focused on what they're going to do to him than the game itself. And that's what Janmark was able to accomplish tonight. I love that. I think it's great. The kneeing one, that was a little tough.
Yeah.
You don't like to see that. It
didn't look good.
It didn't look good. It's penalty any day of the week. But other than that, I like the feistiness. I'd like a little bit more touch around the net when he has a chance. But it's scoring's not for everybody, I guess.
I want to go to this one. I'm kind of laughing, but I'm curious because Roland texts in and says, what does Stuart Skinner have to do to get any respect from Bob? I don't know what Bob said about Skinner. We're in the press box. We can't hear what's being said. I saw Mac T was on the panel. Bob has his usual hit in the intermission with Gene as well. But all I saw was Bob today, like walking around the press box after his hit with the side eye, the eyebrow raised, and he just walked through everybody. So I don't know what he said. I didn't have a chance to catch up with him, but I'm assuming he's given Skinner some love. He should be. Skinner's been pretty damn solid for this team lately. So Roland, let me know what he said, if he said anything. But did you catch that by any chance, Gager, in the intermission?
No, I didn't. I didn't hit the. I got it recorded. I'll go back and have it check, because I heard some of what Mac T said, but I didn't hear what Stoff said in the one interview. I just heard Mac T talking about the brilliance of McDavid and going through that. No, I didn't. I'll have to have a talk with my buddy Bob and see what's going on. Maybe that fall at the community rink in Seattle
with a Red Bull in hand. Oh God, Stuff. Love the guy. Good friend. Worked with him for many, many years. All right, Roland. Thanks for that text. Rusty Shackelford says, evening, gents. I remember not many years ago in the post-game when listening on the radio, there would be both the visiting team and the Oilers team's post-game comments. Is there a reason why it does not happen anymore? Maybe just me, but I think it's missing part. Keep up the great broadcast, gents. How was that Guinness on New Year's Eve, T-Biscuit? Guinness was great, Rusty. We don't have anybody. I only worked one post-game this year where we where I was doing Bozone live and Dusty was filling in for me. So I was able to get down to the rink after doing the hunting show and work the audio. And I didn't go to the visiting locker room. And when you don't have somebody going into the visiting locker room, it's tough to get that audio. So things have changed. It's just the way media has adapted. And even you saying, hey, I remember listening back on the radio, even that's changed because radio has shifted to digital, as we have done here on EST. So less manpower and also less appetite for it as well. But it is nice to add that wrinkle when you can. We do like to get the visiting team and opposing teams audio and video on the pregame show. But I totally get where you're coming from on that one. Dirty Curdy with this one says 17-3 since going 2-9-1. Unreal. Absolutely. And then stacking up Dirty Curdy's messages says, for Gager, who is your ideal 1B for Skinner if you could have the chance to wave the wand at the deadline? A Jake Allen type? Dirty Curdy with that one.
If I had my wish, I would like to see the Flower in here.
Oh, that would be great.
That would just because I do think there's going to be times when in a playoff run where the other guy might have to take the ball for a bit, and to have a guy that it's not going to phase him if he has to go in a Stanley Cup Finals series and perform. I think that on the other side, sometimes having a super young guy as the backup and not even realizing the situation that he's in can sometimes help. But if I could, what's the spell? Accio, the Flower as the Oilers backup from I would like to see him, Marc-Andre Fleury as the 1B in the Oilers organization for sure.
Just hit 1,000 games. Absolutely incredible. I think he just passed Patrick Waugh for second all time in wins. The Wild still in the hunt, 16-16 with 4 OT losses, 36 points in 36 games. They're 4 points back of Arizona, 3 points back of Edmonton. So I feel like they probably believe that they have a chance still, even though they've dropped 3 in a row. But I do like that pick if you could wave the magic wand. All right, let's get to some more text here. Calgary Glenn says, put me in, coach. And take care, boys. Appreciate the stuff that you're doing. Thank you, Calgary Glenn. Appreciate it from all of us here at EST. And then we got Norman a Combine. Says, hey, guys, good game. Still have issues with Bouchard's D-zone play. Not much urgency. Just my thoughts. Also, oh, yeah, here is a Gager Funko Pop. Tube Socks made one for the Founding Five, but here's Gager's. Joaquin, I don't know if you are keeping tabs on the nasty chat or the inbox, but it's there for you. It looks good. You have a goatee.
Yeah.
And a lot of hair.
All right. Thanks. I thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Norman Combine. That's great.
Norman Combine also says hearing Torts tonight would make for good radio. We'll see if we can get that. Trev, I don't know if it's up. And another thing too is sometimes we have to rely on teams and their media crew where we can use their audio and video and give them credit for it. If we could find it. Trev, is there anything? Have you seen anything? Are you keeping a tab out for that?
Yeah, I am. They're taking their sweet time tonight, though, Tommy. So working on it. But yeah, probably within the next 5-10 minutes, I think.
Okay.
I love how they just, after every goal, they go to Torts on the TV just to show him just shaking his head and just angry.
I mean, like, listen, I'm sitting up there with Schauger tonight, and I think it was after the third or fourth goal. Schauger made the joke about, boy, I mean, if they would have watched the video, they would have known that play was coming. and Tortorella, we played it on the pregame show, Gager. Like, he's like, nope, don't watch video. No, don't use that. No, don't need it. No, I've got my information. And then it was Rashog that asked Travis Konechny. He's like, hey, Torts mentioned that you guys really don't do a lot of video work. And Konechny's like, no, we actually don't. We know who their good players are. We know where they're trying to put the puck. I mean, the Oilers kind of hit them with a couple of plays. Not the McDavid brilliance is one thing, but they're like the Draisaitl goal on the 6-on-5 delayed penalty. Like, there were a couple of plays where you're like, if they had scouted for that, they might have known it was coming.
Yeah, it's a weird way to not use all the tools available to prepare. You know, when I see guys on the iPads on the bench, look, I understand it, but I think there's a time and place for it as well. There's when Torts said I don't have iPads on the bench, I understand it to a point, because there's a certain way you get where while watching the game, like being engaged, there's a layer of separation by looking at the electronics and watching something, right? I think that could be more accomplished in between periods. To me, I'm with Torts with that. I don't think the bench is a good place to start reviewing things. I think you have to remain focused and stay in the moment of the game. There's not much you can do because the play is already passed.
Right.
This is something that should be looked through, in a more controlled environment, away from the action going on. I like that, but to not watch tendencies of other teams in video and just kind of, I fell asleep in most of those meetings because the lights were off and the big screen was on and I was lights out. But there is some value in knowing the tendencies of other teams, right? And what they want to accomplish, breakouts, what they do in the power play, their penalty killing. Of course, you want to watch what guys are doing and what you can exploit from maybe a few subtle hints defensively. So I understand it. I think Torts, with the team he has, the way he has these guys playing, he wants them just to focus on themselves, right? And it's been working, right? And they are solely focused on the way that they have to play to win hockey games, and they're not worried about the other team. And you hear guys talk about that, but he's going to the extreme here. I guarantee, Tommy, if these guys are in the playoffs, they're looking at film of the other team. So
you have to.
It's a necessity at that point. But I understand it's old school. I just think you could probably use it to your advantage a little bit more.
He was so dismissive in his pregame availability.
I know, it's great.
Listen, Gager, I hear from people that some players that have played for him really appreciated him and respected him, and that the Tortorella we see and hear on TV and on the radio and read his quotes is not the guy that's behind closed doors in the locker room. But I have zero time for him. I think his shtick is old. I think it's tired, and I don't mind seeing him have bad losses and look like a jackass, because I think he does it to himself. And I really do not feel that way about many people in general. And just his lack of professionalism, I'm just like, come on, man, you're better than that. And he could be great at times too. It's just he chooses to be that guy. And I think it's a shtick that's so tired and doesn't need to happen anymore. And too bad. You don't want to watch video? Well, your team just got schooled by guys that did the same plays that they generally do against most teams. If you watch video, you might have gotten a stick in the lane and you wouldn't have lost 5-2. So,
do you think, though, talking to Torts in those scrums, there's a way to ask him questions to curb it so he does open up? Like, he seems to talk about more, like when he went into Muckler, right? There's ways to get things out of him to expand on it. He's obviously not going to say anything about himself, right? Like, he doesn't want to talk anything that way. I think there's certain questions or phrased a certain way, asking him about the game, that you could probably draw a little bit more out of. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker here, Tommy.
No.
I get what you're saying. It's part of the job. He even acknowledged it. He hates it,
Sure.
but it's funny. He doesn't want to do it, but everyone wants to hear what he says. So I don't know. It's funny. I think he has some good things to say. He's obviously quite a knowledgeable hockey guy. Louis and Jack were talking. They sometimes have the little tete-a-tetes with the coaches behind closed doors.
Yes.
I've been in one of those talking, and they're great. And you get so many gems at that point. Just being
Well,
in
they're
that.
comfortable.
Oh, it's so great, man.
Yep.
Like, and you're just you open up a whole nother side, and you realize why this guy's been coaching in the NHL for over 20 years, or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? So,
Yeah.
it's upsetting because I my first passion is F1.
Yep.
But one of the reasons is the access they give you to the inside of everything, and to see Tortorella, how he operates, I think it would be fascinating for people to see. I think it would be almost beneficial for people to learn some of the things that he implements with his team. So, yeah, it's a missed opportunity, man.
Hey, the tete-a-tetes, the broadcasters, coaches meetings, or whatever you want to call it, those come with a $500 million price tag per season.
Yeah.
That's how you get that access. So they are great. Like you said, I had the good fortune of being in a couple of those as well. And you're trusted by the coaches because you're a rights holder. And then B, you build up that rapport, and they're willing to share a little bit more because they know who they told that to. And if it gets out, it's on your ass, and you're never going to get that opportunity again. So I get that. But yeah, if Jack and Louie, I saw some people in the nasty chat saying that they mentioned that they had a great chat with them. Yeah, 500 mil a year will do that. So that's where it comes from. 780-218-9999. Gazzola and Gager with YouTube Treb holding things down back at ESTHQ. Gager, I want to ask you, this one comes in. No name on the text, but it says, do you think Coach Noblock is a key to the recent success in terms of managing time effectively? And you talked a little bit about the effect and some of the things you're noticing about the way Chris Noblock is doing things with this team.
Yeah, there's just subtle little things during the game where he changes certain plays, the situation. And maybe I didn't have the ISO cam when Coach Woodcroft was coaching the team, but I just see these little things that just spark the back of my mind where, I see what he's trying to do there. I love these subtle little things and I think you see them more at home where he has control over certain players and certain matchups. But he's done them on the road too. I shouldn't say just at home, but I've just noticed that he should get credit. I mean, his overall strategy, which I love, and I think a lot of people feel this way, of splitting up Connor and Leon and not falling back on that crutch again and again. And for how many years? I think Woodcroft was the first guy that came in and kept them apart for a longer period of time, but then it creeped back in. Just like as soon as they'd get down or things weren't going well, they went back to that. And I think it brought the team down in a weird way. The accountability factor of not being relied upon on your coach to turn things around in game. Everyone wants to make a difference. Everyone wants to be part of something special. And I think the accountability of making the easy plays and the difficult plays with Noblock is completely different from what we've kind of seen lately, if that makes sense. And I like what he's doing. Is he a part of why they're where they are now? Yes, but there's also a lot of other things too.
Right. Well said, Gager, as always. I'm looking on Instagram to see if Twitter to see if there's any availability from John Tortorella. I can see him mouthing the words expletive off from the bench. That's about as close to a post-game avail I can find there, but maybe there is one, and Trev is working on it as well. K. Gill, Carmen, wants to know, with Skinner coming on now, do you think a starting goalie is a need or a 1B? Also, what's the biggest deadline need for the Oilers? I'd never thought that they needed a 1A. I always thought Skinner was the guy. I'm pretty sure I maintained that even during how badly they were playing. But a lot of people wanted somebody to come in. I still think that if they can improve the goaltending, Gager, they'll try to, but they're getting decent starts from Pickard, but they probably do need a 1B. They still need a third line center, especially if they're going to keep McLeod at wing. But I feel like long-term McLeod is their play at center, but just not right now. Obviously, he's playing great. And you kind of heard Noblock talking about McLeod and his game overall, where he has confidence in him. And what would you say is the most pressing need, Gager, for this team as it continues to roll? And how do you look at the goaltending situation going into the deadline?
Well, we're a ways away from the deadline, but like I said this morning, as of right now, I think that the Oilers are in a position with 3 goalies in their system, Rodrigue, Skinner, and Pickard, that they haven't had in a long time. They're getting very solid NHL goaltending from the guys up top, and by all accounts, a guy that's knocking at the door in the minor league system. That's where you want to be right now. Sure, you got to keep the phones. You don't put the phones on silent, but and you're looking around. But looking around the league, who fits that bill, right? Who are you? You're looking for an upgrade on Pickard when he's provided you, like, over his body of work has been quite good from Bakersfield to the Oilers, right? So I think more focus. And you make maybe we have to talk about this at length tomorrow, Tommy, but McLeod is interesting because what we talked about earlier is confidence. Mm-hmm. Players with confidence play a different way. Maybe now with McLeod having some success playing on the wing, maybe he's better suited now to go back to center and see how that looks for him. Maybe he's got his mojo back. We have the McLeod that we were more used to in the playoff run, rather than start of the year Ryan McLeod, right? So that could be something that they could ponder. But again, you don't mess with a winning lineup at this point. If this keeps going the way it's going, you're just looking for a third line center to help solidify things a little bit. And you're not touching that line because they are causing havoc for other teams with their speed, skill, and size. Let's face it, they're not crashing and killing guys, but they do have a level of physicality to their game.
Yeah, they do. They're big bodies for sure. Maybe not McLeod's not the thickest, but it's good to see him willing to engage a little bit more physically lately. There was a message that came in via the Nasty Chat, says, hey, with Gagne and Holloway coming back, who would you put in? Where would you put them? But you said it, Gager, without even me needing to bring it up, but I just wanted to get to it. You said, don't mess with the winning lineup. And then you also brought up a point. I think you said Strud said it and you agree with him. It's almost a slight if you're part of a group that's getting it done, right? That's how you guys kind of phrased it.
Yeah, it's sending the complete wrong message. Mm-hmm. If by messing with a player that's playing at doing everything you ask for him in the minutes that he's played, especially if he contributes offensively in any way, or even making great plays. What do I have to do and be a regular NHLer? Right, you have to earn that, and you don't. Things have to be going quite poorly, I think, to mess with this lineup, or maybe just inconsistent play. But yeah, you don't touch this thing, Tommy. It's fire. Last year when they went on that run, I was like, my gosh, this is impressive what they're able to accomplish. And I said, I think this stretch of this last now 7 games is more impressive than that last push to make the playoffs last year, just in the fashion that they were, again, it was a lot of relying on that deadly power play. It was getting them out of a lot of trouble. They were dominating teams from the start of the game. There wasn't a lot of adversity through those games. It was the Oilers just smacking the other teams in the teeth. We're seeing pushbacks from other teams in over these last 7 games where the Oilers are having to deal with some adversity in game and come out on top. That's way more impressive than last year with it seemed to me they were manhandling teams. So Yeah, I love where their game's at. Hopefully they can keep this going, because I hate getting my hopes up too much.
Well, it's looking pretty darn good right now. 6 in a row for the Oil as they continue to roll and inching ever closer to that wild card spot. Just a point back of the Coyotes with the game in hand. Edmonton doesn't play for 3 days when they take on the Ottawa Senators. 8 o'clock on Saturday. We'll be on the air at 6:30 p.m. with the Oil Stream pregame show. KL sends in a text, says, "Hey guys, what do you think of CC's performance these past few games? I've noticed that he is struggling to handle the puck that has caused some turnovers in his zone." That's from KL. Gager?
Well, there was that one play where he took the penalty. It kind of, it was a little bit of a grenade that he mishandled. Had to take the penalty. Good penalty to take, right? I didn't have a problem with it. Would have liked to see him do something a little bit better. But then look, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 shifts after that, Tommy, where he did a spinorama in his own end to avoid a check, led the rush up the ice. So I don't have a huge. I didn't. Maybe I have to go back and watch, but I really don't have a lot of issues with any of the Oilers' defensive play. I think when you're seeing mishandlings of the puck, I attributed that more to the tenacity of the Philadelphia Flyers with their forecheck and creating those opportunities.
Right.
It's not going to be a Picasso every time. Everyone
Good
watched
point.
Jason Strudwick play. I mean, it's not always pretty. So yeah, they were bending and not breaking.
Yeah. CC Gager, we had Jamie McLennan on a couple weeks ago before the Christmas break. Noodles was on the cough medicine. Like he was showing us that he took some weird cold medicine and he was not in good shape. And he went on this tangent about CC. He's like, he's been this, he's been that, not good. And I was like, whoa, CC's actually been pretty steady for them. So I don't really agree with Noodles' assessment. But again, like I said, he was a little bit groggy. We get him tomorrow on the show, so maybe we can revisit that topic. Maybe you guys can have a goalie-to-goalie tete-a-tete on the air, and everyone can be a part of it.
It's 2 goalies and a guy tomorrow. That's great.
Yeah, that is literally the name of your show, Tuesdays and Thursdays. But I think CC, I mean, he's not the world's best puck handler. He's a steady defenseman. He's a good, reliable guy, and I think that's what he has been for the majority of the season. Does he get burnt? Does he make mistakes? Yeah. Does he miss checks? Yeah. But I think for the most part, like Brett Kulak, totally serviceable at a decent rate. And I've got a lot of time for Cody Ceci. And if I was a coach, I'd be pretty comfortable putting him out there.
I think I was talking to Dusty about it, but the other thing that Noblock seems to be doing is playing teams in groups of 5 too, right? You normally see the McDavid line with Ekholm, and then you come back with Nurse and Ceci with Draisaitl. So I think that is that attributes to the chemistry that we see from these guys. You play with the same people over and over. You start to recognize the tendencies. I know I've said this before, but I think there's a method to that madness of trying to match up those groups of 5, like those old Red Army teams, where that's how they played, right? They incorporated a group of 5. That's how they played, and that's what we saw in Detroit. They took that over. Where I think there's value in that, Tommy, to know the guys that you're just used to playing with each other all the time.
Interesting. All right, we do have some audio and video to get to. We'll go inside the Oilers locker room. YouTube, Trev, who's up?
Yeah, we have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and he's coming right up.
If the math was right, 11 points, and it just seemed like one of those nights that as many things that could go right virtually did.
We're just trying to build off the chemistry that we built over the past few weeks here, and obviously we're trying to be defensive first and kind of go from there. And it's obviously tonight it's nice to be able to click like that and watch them go in.
It's been a long time, but still there's some head shakers from Connor that just kind of, a few of those tonight.
Yeah. Most nights. It's Played with him for a long time, obviously 600 games. That's a lot of hockey, but definitely always finds a way to bring something new to the table.
When he's on like that, what's it like to play with him and knowing that, he's just
yeah.
on?
I mean, give him the puck and get open, and usually the plan. But obviously, usually you can find a way to beat one or two guys. So you got to try to get open for him, and obviously support him and do some work for him.
Ryan, another night where you made some big saves when called upon, similar to the LA game.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially at key moments of the game, he had to come up big. A couple power plays where they had some good looks, and he was really solid for us. So definitely a key contributor to the night.
It does seem like it just does seem like you guys are being more patient nowadays. Like the game was tight, then you pulled away as opposed to maybe chasing the game earlier this year.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign for our team. I thought the LA game, same kind of thing. 2 shots going into the second period, and we just stuck with it. And tonight we had the same mentality. Going into playing against these guys, we know that they've been rolling. They're a hard team to play against. We saw that in Philly earlier in the year, and our mindset was to stick with it for the whole 60, and came out on top here.
Ryan, you guys had a run of 8. You're on 6 here, I think, now. Like, you guys are putting together really meaningful streaks here. I mean, how much of a difference does that make considering the start?
Yeah, of course we put ourselves behind the 8 ball a little bit early, and you almost have to find these streaks to get yourself back in it. You're going to lose 1 or 2 here and there, but I think the important thing is to not let it go the other way. You can't lose 2 in a row. You can't lose 3 in a row. Find a way to bounce back every night, and obviously 6 in a row is a good sign for our team, but a long way to go.
You were asked about Connor a little bit earlier on, but just to circle back, 900, I guess 903 now. What is that? What kind of comes to mind when you hear that?
To be able to do that this day and age in 600 games, it's I don't know. You guys see it every night too. It's pretty crazy to have the impact every night that he does.
There you go. There's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, 3 points for him, a couple of really nice goals. I mean, the one tap in was a thing of beauty, the one touch pass by McDavid. But then there were some people say, hey, get that puck up in the air a couple of weeks ago. And I think Nugent-Hopkins was guilty getting stopped by Bobrovsky a couple of times. The last time the Oilers were at home, Bobrovsky sprawling out and they couldn't elevate. And then tonight, no mistake on that second goal. That was a thing of beauty. But his line is just, it's like a power play when that line's out there, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, they're you can say it. They're the best line in hockey right now. They make it look like they're on the power play for the better part. Like, I love their starts. I love just having that sustained offensive zone time just to set the tone, right? You get McDavid, and it's fun. Him doing that, he's almost hypnotic, Tommy, where he's booting around and he gets that big tripod going. And I loved the decision making of him to shoot a couple. And I think that always opens up other things for Connor. Not that he needs a big window to do it, but I think because he came in and took a couple quick shots tonight, I think that's why he was able to create some open looks for other players when he had the puck. Because when you watch him, when you've recorded, watch the Flyers' heads. They are all laser focused on this guy because they don't know what he's going to do. He's so unpredictable at this point. So it's funny to hear. I always find it interesting to hear guys talk, because if anyone went on the ice with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, they'd be like, how does this guy not have 200 points? Like, he is so skilled, this guy.
Right.
And he's talking about Connor as in a different stratosphere, and he is, but yeah, I love seeing gifted offensive players compliment the greatness of what Connor's been able to achieve, especially tonight. 5 points, ridiculous.
Yeah. Nugent-Hopkins picks up 3 of his own. He's up to 36 points, 11 goals, 25 assists, putting together another good year. Is it a 100-point season? Probably not, but pretty damn good one for Nugent Hopkins in the works right now. All right, we have one more bit of audio and video to get to. YouTube Trev, who are we going to hear from?
He had 1 goal tonight, 2 assists. Here is Zach Hyman.
There's still some sort of head shakers that Connor seems to make, even though we've all been watching it for so long here.
Yeah, he does it all the time, so you never know what to expect. So it's really fun playing with him, obviously, and he just makes plays that nobody else can make. So that's why he is who he is. So.
Were you surprised when that puck landed on your stick?
No, I mean I knew he saw me, and then I just went there because I figured he's going to get it there somehow, and obviously made an unbelievable play to get it there.
I just asked Ryan, but when you hear 900 and I guess 903 now, what kind of comes to mind, or what do you think when you hear that for somebody like that?
For him, it's just another number. Like, I don't know. He's just happy we won. I mean, knowing him, but on the outside, obviously, just generational talent that's able to do that. Pretty special for the kind of the era that he plays in, to be in categories with guys. You know, I don't know if anybody's even close in recent memory, right? So, pretty unbelievable, and pretty special to have the opportunity to play with him.
When he makes a play like that, how satisfying is it to finish it off? And
yeah. I mean, he made a number today, obviously, and mine was just one of however many that went in, right? So, yeah, it's always nice to put it in, especially when he's making a play like that. But he probably makes more plays than not that like that don't go in, right? You just remember the ones that do. So, pretty cool.
You're on a run yourself. This is the best run you've probably been on, where the goals just keep going in.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine. Yeah, it's just kind of going out there and just refreshing and resetting every game, and just trying to go out there and help the team win. So, obviously, fun to contribute and be a part of it.
So you had an 8-game run, now a 6-game run. Is this kind of what you expected out of your team from the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell when you're going to win an 8-game run or a 6-game run. Hockey's unpredictable at times, right? I think the key for our group is just to play with a level of consistency that allows us to give us a chance every night, and I think Stu's been doing that, and so has Picks, right? I think back there it starts with goaltending, and they've been phenomenal again. Stu tonight. There were times in that game where we were outplayed, and he just shut the door and kept it tied. So that helps a ton.
Even when you had that 8-game run, you were kind of 8 points back, and you'd wake up the next day, and then it'd be 6, and then it'd be 8, and you're making the gains now. You're moving up. You're like 1 point out ninth. Is this finally refreshing to see that you've made some statistical progress?
Yeah, I try not to look at the stats. I think the only one I saw, which was I kind of got a chuckle at, was the one where it kind of showed, since I've been here, a record at Christmas has kind of been the same, even though each season's felt drastically different. So, but yeah, I try not to look at the standings. We're not even at the halfway mark. I think for us, it's just laying the foundation to be able to go and win every night, and we do that. You know, we've had a lot of experience in the playoffs. We know what it takes to get there, and now we know what it takes to win, right, to win games. And it starts every day now, and building that sense of belief and trust and foundation of your game. So obviously very happy that it's coming to fruition here.
Sense of belief and trust, Gager, all the personal accolades aside, I really like what he said there about the belief and trust, and I think that goes a long way. And then with it comes the personal success on the ice, and then as a whole, team success, right?
Well, and what's really important, I think, is the foundational base, what he talks about, right? Like it's just like building a house, Tommy. You want to start with that proper foundation. Building that from there, that structural support of setting yourself up to winning games, and then the rest is kind of finishing and like you just painted your place up and made it all nice and shiny, right? So it's
yes,
you wait for those little things. It's just like your third line center is your coat of eggshell white in your spare room.
That's exactly the color. You've been here, so you know, but it looks very fresh in here. Well done, sir. Unbelievable. Let's get to the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Remax realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven, Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Without further ado, YouTube Trev, get to it, young man.
Awesome. So, real no surprise tonight, fellas. Even though there were several good players, I like Draisaitl. Fogle looked pretty sound all game, but anytime you get a 5-point night, Warren Fogle, he did it last game, and Connor McDavid, he got his 10th fifth-point game of his career, which is absolutely insane. You guys mentioned it, 903 points now. If he had, back-to-back seasons, he would have got 156 points like he did last year or whatever it was. He would have reached 1,000 points, which is insane, but he's going to be just shy of 1,000 points this year coming in, and it's just so insane. You look at John Tavares earlier in the year, he just reached 1,000 points, and it feels like he's been in the league for ever, right? He had 6 years head start in McDavid, and he's chasing the Tavares, the Marchands of the league, the Steven Stamkos, so it's super impressive. Another 5-point night, 1 goal, 4 assists, +3. He was absolutely buzzing out there, and he's the best player in the world. And we're so lucky enough to watch him every single night. So it is really cool. He's just a special talent, and he is your Damon Bunting Player of the Game. So atta Connor.
Attaboy. Way to go, YouTube. Trev, that is the Damon Bunting Player of the Game. Check out DamonBunting.com or Damon Bunting Real Estate on Instagram. Okay, Joaquin, the Ottawa Senators come to town on Saturday, so the Oil have a few days to regroup. They will not take tomorrow off. Sounds like a practice at noon, which is interesting. And I suppose they don't really need the time off. They've had a bunch of it lately. So they get the Sens, who are 14-19 right now, and just, reshuffled their front office. And Ottawa's a team that you look at, you're like, okay, just get those 2 points. How do you see this game on Saturday between the Oilers and Senators, and what should the approach be for the Edmonton Oilers?
Well, it should be the same mentality that they had this evening. I think you're getting a team in the Ottawa Senators that I just didn't see them playing this poor to this point. And I think just with all the other things that have gone on with the gambling, the kerfuffle, when stuff happens at the top, it filters down, right? Now you have an intern coach, which I kind of disagree with. I don't think the Senators are going to make the playoffs. I think this isn't a salvageable season. I would have preferred if they were to take the path of the Vancouver Canucks and get their guy in that they want now. Maybe they are. I don't know, but I think when Tocchet did go to the Vancouver Canucks, he was able to essentially just have a extended training camp, right? Get a feel of his players. He was quite harsh in those last few weeks when he took over the team, but it just allows you to recognize your personnel and hit the ground running when you get to training camp. I would look for a smaller training camp. You're not inviting 70 guys. You want the guys that maybe might be a few spots open. You evaluate that way. But I think this is kind of a missed opportunity. We'll see. Steve Staios probably has a guy in mind, but I think I just, after seeing what Vancouver was able to accomplish this year so far, I think a big key to that success was hiring Tocchet at the end of last year so he could get a feel of the team in game in the season rather than try to establish everything from the start fresh.
So the Oilers will try to make it 7 in a row against an Ottawa franchise still putting the pieces together, let's call it. Joaquin, great work as always tonight. Thanks for stepping in for Cass. We appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you in the morning. I'm going to read a couple more nasty chats, which are pretty good. Spency 5 cents, he says, what color do you paint the rumpus room or carpet on the walls? None of that. Not in this place. We keep it classy and sassy up in here. Right, Gager?
Mirrors on the ceiling, pink champagne on ice, buddy.
You're not supposed to tell people about that. And then Petter's Pancake says he can get 96 points in the last 48 games, talking about McDavid. We shall see. We shall see. And then VR Montenegro and Petter's Pancake saying, I love how you guys have your own chat in here. This YouTube version is fantastic. Yes, indeed. We love it. We love that you love it. And we also appreciate you tuning in, whether it's via the audio stream, the tune-in stream, or on our YouTube channel. Like, share, subscribe. Big thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. We're back, baby. The Oilers start off 2024 with the 5-2 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. For Joaquin Gage and YouTube Trev, I'm Tom Gazzola saying ciao for now. We'll see you in the morning on The Nielsen Show. Good night, everyone.